Terrain. I'm your host Cross, and today I'll be showing you how to take the simple hedges that we made in episode 15, complicating them, but improving them, and making them look much more lush, much more realistic and leafy, and just adding a few extra touches to it to improve the overall look. These are fine. These are better. That's just my opinion. Stick around after the bump. Quick explanation of what we're doing today, and then we'll jump into the safety equipment. So what we're doing is we're taking the simple hedges that we made in episode 15, and which are nice, they're good, they'll work on your table, they look fine, but as Elzar would say on Futurama, we're going to bam it up a notch. We're going to take it from a basic hedge to something that looks truly battle ready or game ready. The other will work, but this is just the next step up. This is more complicated. You don't have to do this. This is simply an advanced technique. So that's what we're doing. I'll be right back and we'll talk about safety equipment. Now for this, we are going to have a couple of harsh chemicals. They're going to make some smells. You're going to want to do that outside anyway, but while you're outside, but you're still close to the chemicals, you are going to want a full breather. You're not going to want one of just the little papery masks. If you get the ones that fit snugly and have a similar valve or vent to this, those will work, but the basic ones like the ones you've all been wearing for COVID and that sort of thing are probably not going to do it. This is a full N95 in, straight out. There's no filtration on the way out. This is a full breather mask for using particulates when you're doing construction type projects. This is what we're going to need, and you want to be outside in a ventilated area. Now, those parts I won't be doing on camera today because, as I've said before, I really do work in a basement. There's no ventilation in here at all, so I'm going to spray some things and then I'll come back in and show you what I've done with them. But you are going to want this full breather. In addition to the breather, we are going to be spraying directly onto things. You notice some of these are masked off. We're going to be holding these in our hands, so with the sprays and the glues coming that close to our hand, we're going to want some gloves. These cheapy little clear plastic ones will work. The vinyl ones will work. Or the nitrile construction type ones will work as well. Any of these will work. You can, if you have access to the sterile ones, you can use those, but they don't need to be sterile for this. I never use latex because you can develop a latex allergy even if you don't already have one. I don't have one, but let's, knock wood. And I would hate to have a latex residue left on anything where it's going to potentially harm someone who might have an allergy. So I either use the plastic, the nitrile, or the vinyl. But you are going to want some gloves with this. Now, you're also going to want some safety goggles just in case some of the glue spatters back on you, or when we're doing the flock, you don't want to get the flock in your eyes. I suggest at minimum some of these safety goggles, some of these safety glasses, safety goggles that cover your full eye are maybe a little bit overkill. A shield would work great. I use these because I already wear glasses and I can wear both at once. So I suggest something to go more than just your glasses, something that's going to come around the side, protect from the particles and such, because we will be using the flock and that dust goes everywhere. So that's it for safety. Come back and I'll show you where we're starting from, and then I'll show you where we're getting to, and after that then we'll go through the actual process. Be right back. So we're starting from what I called the easy peasy hedges. That's the one we made in episode 15. This is one of the ones I actually made in that video. It's great, it's wonderful. It's not as good as it could be for the upper end, so it just depends on you. You can leave them like this, or we can upgrade it. This one works the same way. It's got that same divider down the middle. It's got the same base to it. The only difference is I used foam clump foliage on this. There's 20 or 30 different videos out there I know of that show you how to make this. If I remember, hopefully I'll link to one that can show you how to make this, but this is just the rubber clump foliage. This is designed to look like already like little bushes. It comes off in little tiny pieces, or when it's first made there's glue in with the paint and it bonds up, and these can make bigger chunks, and that's what I've done is I glued on a bunch of bigger chunks and then just filled in the holes. So these are the two simple, or what I call easy peasy hedges, and we're going to be upscaling to these. So this is one that's actually complete. This, I'm going to leave it just like this. I could paint the bottom darker brown, but it's already a tan. It blends in with most of the landscapes I've got, I'm probably going to leave this. I may at some point paint this a darker brown to look like this color. This is one that's in process. I'm about 95% done on this. This shows some of the masking that gets done. Now, the reason I'm showing you this is I missed something, and I want to make sure that you see to do this. I'll cover it again when we get to the glue section. But the bottoms of these have no flocking on them. I have somehow managed to miss these. I hit them with the glue, but I forgot to tip it basically upside down and put the flock on it. So this one I'm going to need to redo the bottom edges so that it can come out looking like this, because this has the bottom done completely and looks uniform all the way around. So this is what we're going for. This is almost there from our starting point. These are the simple ones I made in episode 15, and we were done at the end, and I never clear coated them. That was just to keep them simple. If you're using them at home and you're playing amongst friends and they're careful with them and you always pick them up by the base and sit them down carefully, they're fine the way they were. Since then, just to make them a little sturdier, a little tougher, and make some of this lichen, or make less of the lichen likely to fall off, I've come back and I've hit them with a clear coat. Any clear coat will work. I happen to use this one. I found it had very good results for me. So any matte spray clear coat will work. This is the one that's really stinky. This is the one you're going to want to do outside. This is the one you're going to want, definitely going to want to wear the breather for. So I just took it and gloved up, went outside and sprayed the heck out of these. You want to hit them from all angles. You want to hit under that bottom edge all the way around. You want to hit the ends, sides, and the top. You do not have to hit the bottom of the base, but you just want to get a really good coverage on these with the clear coat so that it just protects it and seals it and keeps it together. Once we've got it to this point, now we're ready to flock it. What I'm going to do for that is I'm going to use a spray glue. Now I use the Super 77. I've had really good results with this. Again, there's 20 or 30 other varieties out there. You can use whichever one works for you. I use the Super 77. That I've had really good results. So I'm going to show you how to mask one of these to get ready for this. Then I'm going to take this outside and spray it. This is not as likely to stink up the whole area as the matte varnish, but you're still going to want to do this outside unless you have a vent system. So I'm going to show you the masking right here, and then I'm going to go outside and spray it when I come back in, because this has a few minutes before it dries. So you'll see what it looks like after you spray it. I'm not going to show the spraying on it because I have to move the camera outside and it's raining today and all that. So we take one of these, and we're going to mask it up like this. Let me take one that hasn't been masked. Let's go with this one. And any ordinary masking tape will work. You can use the tan stuff, you can use the blue stuff, the green stuff, the purple stuff. I probably comes in, oranges and yellows and whatever. And you want to take a pretty good chunk of it because you want enough to go all the way around it. My tape tore off. I hate when it does this and tears off at an angle like that, but that's alright. We can work with that. Now, for this, you're going to want to hold the lichen or the foam from the other style up out of the way. And you want to take the tape and not put it at the edge. You want to put the tape slightly on top of the wood, or base, whichever we used for the base. That's just to get a good seal so that you don't end up having sticky sides to it if you miss anything with the flock. So we're just going to go around that. Let me show you how we're doing that. Sitting it just a little bit on top, all the way around. So I'm going to finish this one up, and then I'm going to go outside and hit it with the Spray 77, and I'll be right back. As you can see, I've gone out and sprayed these with the glue. They turn pretty white, but that's okay. The glue will dry a little bit clearer, but we're about to completely cover these in flock anyway. As I said, you do want to glove up. Here's why. As you can see, I've stuck to it. Not a big deal. That's why we're wearing the gloves. Then you want to take a fairly dark green, and this I've got my mid green. I do have some darker greens, but you want a fairly dark green, and you want to put the flock all over it. Now this is not going on there as quick as I would like, so you can be pretty liberal with this. It's going to need to stick to all of the glue, and it's only going to stick where the glue is, so it's going to fall back off in a moment. I want to get this started so that I can pick these up more easily and not stick myself to them. The reason I'm doing this on top of this white board that you see below here, right here, is that's my flock retrieval unit. I'll show you what I mean in just a moment. Now these are pretty well stuck to the board itself. Well, one of them is. We're going to do these one at a time when I get back here in just a second. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not turning off the camera. I'm just showing you. So this is my retrieval unit. I can take the flock and waste not, want not, as it were. So we'll take that and put that back down. Now I want to hold these by as little sticky area as I can. And everywhere I see white, including up under these bottom edges, I'm going to hit with the green. You can also dip it in. You can press it straight in. You can take the stuff and push it on if you want, but I tend to get my hand a little sticky. So I just keep burying it until I don't see any more white, and once that's done, I don't even shake off the excess yet. I just take that and set it to the side and work on the next one. Dip in, roll it around, cover it, bury it. You get the idea. Once that's said and done, you just want to sit that off to the side, give it a chance to dry. And once it's dried, you're going to come back for a second layer. And give me just a second and I will show you that. I have another one ready to go, so we won't actually have to wait for these to dry, but I'm still going to go off camera here for just a second. I'm going to finish up this third one and I'll be right back. Alright, this one's been done and has dried. This has all been done in the dark green. Now, I'm going to spray that with a hairspray. I like Aquanet. I find that it holds the strongest, but you can use whatever you want. If you're using one of the ones that's designed for making your mohawk stick up, or one of the goth ones that says ultra hold, or one of the ones that says beach hold, any of those that are super strong hold will work for you. Now I've got this Aquanet, which is a newer variety. I've got this that's old, was left by a friend of mine's mother. So this is, they will lose their stickum after a while. So this old one does not work. There's still some in here, but I can't use it. It doesn't actually make anything stick. So it works as a fixative, but not as an adhesive. So we are going to attach a little bit more color to this in a different shade. It's not going to be the dark green. It's going to be a very light green. For this, I'm going to be using sage. Not actual sage, sage green. This is normal flock, but sage green. So, as you can see, I've gotten all the way up under here with the flock. I've taken the masking tape off. When you take the masking tape off, let me show you something. Careful with that. You'll need to take it and hold the lichen or the foam down very carefully as you peel away from it. Not straight out to the side, but sort of in a down motion toward the bottom of the base. And you want to hold that in place, otherwise it's going to try to rip a lot of it loose, and this is what you end up with. So you don't want to tear out too much of the lichen on the tape. So when you go to unmask it, just be careful that you're going to have to hold it in place as you peel. So this has the flocking all around it. It's been unmasked, which is fine. You can leave it masked until after this next step. It doesn't matter. So the hairspray. Now this gets pretty stinky, but not as bad. So let me get the breather on. So the hairspray, I'm just going to spray all of this as a fixative to keep it in place. I've knocked off the excess already. I'm going to spray it as a fixative. And then on top of that, I'm going to sprinkle some of the sage, just a little bit, and I only want to do that straight down from the top. This is going to be the parts that are most exposed to the sun. We're trying to give it an impression that it's being hit with natural light. So let me toss on the mask, hit this with the spray, hit it with the sage green. I'm going to let you see all that. So that's it. Sprayed that with the hairspray as a fixative, then and used it as an adhesive as well. So I sprayed the top really well to get a lot of extra stick with the hairspray on it. I sprinkled just from the top with the sage. As you can see, I made sure to hit the top of all of the little outcroppings as well, but only the top surfaces. If you look from this side, you won't even be able to see it. So at this point, I'll shake off any excess. Don't worry, quite a bit will stick on there. As you can see, we've highlighted that whole top area. Now you're going to want to hit it with the hairspray again. For this, I'm going to put the breather on, but I'm just going to hold it for a second. And that's it. That's completed. That's the whole thing done. So now we've got the nicer hedge in the more realistic foliage with the highlight, and that's ready to sit directly on your table once it dries. Now the hairspray and the spray adhesive are going to take, I would give it 24 hours. I wouldn't like play with it today, but you want at least a couple hours for everything to set and fix and stay in place, and that's it. You're ready to go. So hope you enjoyed it. There's going to be a couple stills at the end where I'm going to show you some stills, and then I'm going to come in and I'm just going to say some goodbyes. So if you want to take off now, that's great. Not a problem, and we'll see you next time. Just remember to like, share, and subscribe us, and catch us on social media. We'll see you next week. If you stick around until the end, that's going to be great. It's going to be a little bit more conversation and some stills of this mixed in with some of the houses I built in previous videos and that sort of thing. You'll also be able to see it in scale with some of the minifigs. So stick around, or else we'll see you next week. Have a good one. Well, hope you enjoyed that. We turned some of the basic shrubs like this one into a more ornate version like this and these. As you can see, you can use them together. And they'll spruce up the terrain on any time you need a hedge or what they call bocage, which is a hedgerow used as a barrier. They are they're pretty stable on those, as I said, on those heavy bases in last week's episode. So you can set them up in different mixes and variations. Try them how you want. Make an entire privet, one of those mazes out of the privet hedges if you want. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you're liking what we're bringing to you here at Campaign Terrain, and we'll be bringing it back as much as I can every single week. I'm your host Cross, and I'm happy to have you here with me. Make sure to follow us on social media, like us, share, and subscribe us. Tell all your friends about us, and we'll see you around. Stick around. Going to be a few stills after this, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for coming to Campaign Terrain. Have a great one. I love you. See you next time. Welcome to Campaign Terrain. I'm your host.